Welcome back to the CHG podcast.
What's up, guys? I got a haircut.
It's been like 3 weeks since we've done.
I did not do this by choice. This was a medical haircut.
We didn't get to see David get bald. I knew it was good. Yeah. I knew this was going to happen.
It's grown out a little bit. Grown out a little bit.
You don't look bad. I mean, you don't.
Yeah, I don't look bad now. But when I first got it shaved off, it was like skin. And like with me, with my complexion and a skin head and my tattoos, I was looking a certain way.
Oh,
for sure.
Well, you're in the South, so it's all right. You're
exactly, yeah.
You're totally.
I was getting a lot more high fives than normal. I was like just random people with MAGA hats. Just
you were getting called brother like one too many times, you know,
and not by black people this time. So like,
yeah,
kind of weird.
Damn. I was gonna say like this, like the one time being in the South worked out for you. So yeah, we're back. We're back to CHG podcast. This is the gaming podcast. We talk about the industry, what's going on, and try to.
Yeah, we're not a Last of Us podcast anymore.
Yes, we're not a Last of Us. That was the last one we did. So I was like, that was like a month ago. It's been a long time. It's been maybe because we have schedules because David is
when season 2 comes out again, it will be back to being.
It's like 2 years from now, man.
A Last of Us only podcast.
It's fine. It's like 2 weeks from now, or 2 years. 2 weeks. Gosh, 2 years from now. So yeah, so we're gonna get right into what we're playing. I will go first since David has much less than I do. So the one thing, David and I finally found a game that we both play, and that's the Wolong Fallen Dynasty. We both played it and both like it. It's very rare that we both play a game that we both like. And I was already going to play it because I love Neo, and that's the same people who made this game, Wolong.
Which I also played and liked.
You played Neo too, but you didn't play a lot of it. You didn't play a whole much of it. Yes, you did like what you played, but you didn't play a whole lot. But this time you actually sunk your team into this one.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing that. I played it on my personal profile, my personal account, platinumed it, beat it on New Game and New Game Plus, hit the level cap, which I've never hit a level cap.
Definitely have not done
for a game. For a game like that just came out. Like I'll hit level caps when it's all done, whenever the game's all done and everything's fine, the Ultimate Edition or whatever. But I've never reached a level cap for a game that is still on, because they're going to release a season pass. They're going to release probably 3 DLC packs like they did with Neo 1 and 2, and probably 3 more difficulties if they follow the same suit that they did with Neo 1 and 2. So I beat the first 2. The level cap is actually 150. Just so you know, it's not even that high.
At 80.
It's 150. You're not too far. I mean, as long as you don't lose your souls, you're fine.
Yeah.
Or your key, which I don't know if it's pronounced key, but yes, if you don't lose your key, you're fine. Got a build going for it. I am running a light armor poison sword build, which I've never done light armor before or sword. So this has been really cool. But like the weapons function and work very differently than Neo. Or any Souls like. So I like how it works. You get a lot of hits in. The poison I have, like the poison buildups really fast. Poison takes out so many enemies. Even a lot of bosses don't resist poison.
Yeah, I haven't done shit with like with effects or all. Like
I will say I didn't fuck with it until like endgame, because you don't need to. You honestly don't need to, because as you and I discussed, this game is pretty easy.
Yeah.
For a Souls-like.
Souls-like. I would say out of all the good Souls-like games that I've played, this is like the starter one, I would say.
It's got to be. Like
it's the most forgiving. Like,
did you play Lords of the...
Well, I don't.
Lords of the Fallen?
No, I didn't play Lords of the Fallen. No.
Okay.
And I don't consider that like.
I
know you liked it. I know you. I know it's a Souls-like, and I know you liked it, but it critically.
I know it's not a great game. I know that.
That's why I said
sure.
Good. But no, it's definitely forgiving. Like I probably hit like maybe 40% of my parries, maybe, and I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, it's if you have any grasp on, you can even come from Elden Ring and jump into this. I mean, yes, you have to get used to the parry system and the armor system and all that stuff, which is different than Elden Ring or Souls games. But as far as the combat and dying and everything, once you get the hang of it, and you don't think of it as a Souls game, but like more like a Neo type game, you're fine. You're running with it. It's so like I only died a lot of times to a handful of bosses, and that was Libu, but everyone, almost like 99% of players will die a few times to Libu. First form Libu, second form Libu, super easy. First form, holy crap, human Libu, no joke. So he sucked. I think Zhang Liang, or the electric one. He's human, the human electric boss. Because electricity is so OP from when
Yeah,
enemies use
it
it.
like
When
stuns
enemies use
you.
it,
Yeah,
it sucks. Um, so he was way hard.
I
Like
beat
both times.
him on 3 tries.
I forget. Okay, on the main boss, when you actually fight him in the story mission, I might have died a couple times. But when you fight him in the end game, or not end game, as a separate side mission, which is you and him, holy crap, that one's way hard because you're by yourself, and then you realize how much of a crux having allies
Yeah, yeah.
is when you have to do bosses by yourself.
They take the
Yeah, he's.
aggro.
I think actually, they actually with the latest update, they actually nerfed him a bit because he was just too damn hard. Well, too damn hard in that game's sense. Probably in the grand scheme of Souls games, not really, but next game, so he's so over the top. And then I died a lot to that 3-on-1 boss battle, which they've actually nerfed that too a bit because that was completely stupid. It's a side mission. You
Okay, I
have to
don't.
talk to some people in that home hidden village,
Uh,
and it'll. I think that's how you activate it.
okay, yeah,
But if you
I've
don't
done
talk to
shit.
them, because I think you talk when they say like we want to challenge you, and I think then it's available. That's
Okay,
actually how
yeah,
you unlock a lot of boss battles is by going back to the village and talking to people who just show up, and
yeah, yeah,
you'll unlock
yeah.
some boss battle missions to do, and that's one of them. And it sucks because, as you might imagine, 301 is just stupid. It really is
You gotta just
stupid.
be parrying like
Dude, you
shit
better
you
know how to
can't
parry,
see.
and you got to be able
Yeah,
to parry on the fly because enemies will do their like those red attacks off screen and then come
yeah.
into you,
And
and
you just gotta.
you got to be able to know how to parry on the fly. It sucks. I died so many times to that the first time before they nerfed it. I haven't played it since they nerfed it because I beat the game twice like a couple weeks ago. Now it's been a couple weeks since I've finished it, and so that one was a stupid one. The other human boss, don't know his name, but he's the real big dude with like the spear, like the real bulky looking guy with the
I don't know if I
spear.
did some.
It's
Oh,
when
the king dude.
yeah, he's like the king, whatever. He takes the elixir,
Oh,
but he
dude, I
doesn't.
took
But he
him out
doesn't.
in one.
Okay, let me sure we're talking about the same guy. He takes the elixir, but doesn't use it for himself. He just uses it because he knows he can have power. And
Yeah,
he has those dancers that are dancing in front of him in the
yeah,
cutscene.
yeah. I did it
One
in one.
try? Oh my!
Yeah.
Okay,
Now, okay, so the build I'm running, again, I'm not using poison or anything, but I have the spirit that makes a heal circle.
well, okay. I didn't have
So
that when I called him the first time.
I did. And I always run with 2 followers too. So like I cheese it.
That's why
So I do. I
I
did
don't.
2 followers. I had 2 followers and the heal circle, and the heal circle lasts way too long. So like I get it to where like I have like two potions left, like drink potions, and I
Yeah.
put the heal circle in, and then trap him in a corner and just
You
go
know,
crazy.
I might because I was by myself. I soloed it. Let me solo
Okay,
him.
there you go.
Let me solo him. And I think I soloed him because I didn't use in the first run in regular new game. I didn't summon any allies that weren't
That
given to
weren't
me.
game, yeah.
Just to see, just to figure, see how much harder it is when you don't have allies. So I don't know what I ran in the new game, but new game plus is when I have my build. And in new game plus, oh,
I bet.
boy,
I bet. Yeah.
he's a monster because they raised the morales of all the bosses to
Yeah.
25
Which so
max
it's max. So it's your max too. So you're
on new
fighting
game
them
plus. Well, the
even.
thing is, if you die, you go down to 20,
Yeah, and
and
you.
you make
Well, I
and
always go into boss masses with 25 more out too.
it's
So
fine on new game because they're not at 25. They I think are at 20 or something like that,
yeah.
unless they kill you or whatever. They might go up, but
Well,
like
what I'm saying is
starting.
I always out more out
Well,
them.
here's the thing: even on New Game Plus, even if you match it, it still may
It's
not
still
hurt
matched.
you. And if you die, then
It,
you have to use some items to get back up.
yeah.
And it's
Or if you
it's
don't fucking parry and then your morale goes down,
oh yeah,
like
and if
me.
you can even be max, you can even be at max, but then lose it because you didn't parry the red
Yeah.
attacks, and it's brutal. And so yeah, so he was really hard on New Game Plus for sure. I might be thinking New Game Plus rather than New Game because it was so hard. But then I started realizing like I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's because my morale is 20, his is 25, and it makes you
You get
don't realize the
fucked.
difference. You don't
Yeah.
realize the difference until your New Game Plus and you realize how much of a
I
difference it
realized it
makes.
in the first mission because in the first little area, there you can go on the side path and you face the little the tiger.
Yeah, that tiger
I
thing.
was trying to face it because I didn't know about the morale system yet, so I was just like going up and like just trying
Hmm.
over and over again after the first day
Yeah,
and just getting fucked. And then I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll level up some more. So I go and do the rest of the mission. I only leveled up like one time, but my morale was max. And I went back and facing and just fucking destroyed him and was
yeah.
like, what the fuck? And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, the morale system, you get better, like your
It like scales your weapons or whatever. Like it's just weird. It's not explained,
is it
but
I think what it does really, and it might do other things, but one of the main things I think it does is it makes your like crits when you do the crits on them, like either from behind or when you parry them enough. I think it ups that.
what I know it does for sure is that it will increase your attack power
Mm.
and it reduces the amount of damage you take.
Okay, well
Like
then, yeah,
those are
definitely.
known things. Like that's been like apparently that is what happens. People have noticed they take less damage and they do more damage. And I noticed it too. Like when mine is higher, I'll do that crit attack, like
And
on
it
the
takes
tiger,
out
for
like
instance, and it either kills them. Like if they were at half, they'll be dead. But when the morale was more skewed towards the tiger's favor, it does like they live with a good chunk of health left.
yeah.
So it affects your attack power and defense, which is interesting. It's good and bad because it can be obviously good for you, but then it's like it kind of like, well, what's the point of having this attack base power when the morale is a secret, multiplier
Multiplier. Yeah.
that will you'll never know exactly how much.
That's why like
It's just
sometimes if I'm just in the world, like in the level, and I come across someone who has like way higher morale than me, I just like if I can skate around them, I'm gonna skate around them and then I'll come back and get them later. I
Oh
don't even
yeah,
fuck
no,
with them.
I totally get that. I mean, I refuse, but yeah, I get that though. So anyways, I've been playing a whole bunch of that. I beat it, and I'm streaming it, and I'm like halfway through the game now on stream. I'm sticking with axe though. I'm using a pole axe, harkening back to my Neo days, and we'll see how that build plays out because it has different stats that it scales with. Once you at first it was confusing, but actually it makes sense, and it
Yeah.
actually like it's just what they didn't have. Now they've actually patched in a lot of stuff that they should have just had from the start. Like there's set bonuses that was already in the game,
Yeah.
but you couldn't see what they did.
No,
And I
yeah.
was like, why do you even include that if you can't see
Or
what it
like
does?
I didn't know, like I don't know, and I still don't because I haven't played in a while, but like sometimes it would give you a full set, but sometimes it'll only give you like two things from a boss battle. And I'm like, am I getting bonuses at all for having two of
Oh
them, or
yeah.
do I need the
Well,
full
the
set?
drops are still random, no matter what
Yeah.
boss you fight. So that's nothing to do with changing. But like you would see that it's part of a set, but there's no way you could see what the set was, how many pieces you needed, what each piece did. Like in Neo, well, you didn't get that far, but in Neo, when you have sets, you can press R2 and it'll show you the set and the pieces that are part of it, and then it shows you the effects you get for each. Like when you have two, and then three, four, five, whatever, you see
Okay,
all the
yeah.
buffs you get. And this game didn't have that, and I was like, I'm so confused. People were able to figure it out by probably from data mining and figured out what they all did. But now they've put
Added
updated
it.
where you can now check it, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, thank you, because I actually have. I don't know if I have every set, but I have a lot of the sets that you get from the companions because once you raise their ops to level 10, they actually give you their full set, and it's 4 star. It's a four
Uh,
star full set, and I got them
yeah.
all. I got them all because
Nice.
they're actually not that hard to do. You can use tiger seals and like cups of cordiality to just boost
Yeah.
it without doing anything. But so I have all that. So I'm really excited to see all this and see what caters more to the axe, and then see what's more catered towards the sword. See if I want to change anything when the new difficulties start pulling in, because I'm sure that's what they'll do with this game. But overall, it's still a really fun game. I think overall though, it is Neo still is better. It's more complete, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that this game has that I do wish Neo kind of had. Like I will say, the combat is much more engaging in Wolong than it was in Neo. Because I'm going back to Neo 2. Actually, I've been playing Neo 2 again, and
And
it is much more engaging. I have to admit.
I will say this, and I've noticed it. So in this game, you can pause it. So
Yeah,
at
you
least
can.
I'm, yeah.
Mhm.
And like, call me a noob or whatever. But like, as an adult, I need to pause shit sometimes. And like, so I'll be in that, in a boss fight and stuff, and then Serena will yell about, something I need, something that she needs me to do, like, there's a bug or something with the pets or whatever. And like, for my marriage, I gotta take care of that. So like, it's rough in like, the Souls games, you cannot pause. And
Mm-hmm.
she gets mad all the time about when I'm playing a Souls game and I can't pause. But so like, I know it's a small thing, but I need to be able to pause my Souls likes.
And honestly, it was like that was a weird choice from the beginning of not having one. Like I get it, it does help with immersion, right?
Yeah.
But
I
I
think
don't
it's
think
just one of those fuck you things. Like there,
it kind of is.
it can't be anything other than, oh, you want to pause? Fucking pussy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's because it's like you can still have immersion with a pause, like every other game ever, like every other game has it except for Souls games, and
yeah,
it is like I can still have immersion with a pause button, guys. Like
yeah.
we can do that, and so actually, it's fun fact because I saw the Game Rings video, probably where you saw that they shouted that out.
Oh, I
Well,
just noticed it. I was
well,
like,
well,
holy fuck, I
I
can
did too,
pause
but Game
this.
Rings actually shouted them out for having a pause button.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I don't remember that
Well, here's the
specifically.
thing. Apparently, Neo 2 has a pause button on the PS5 at least. On the PS5 version, there's a pause button, and I didn't even know
I
that.
noticed that I could. So I don't know. I noticed that I could pause in Neo 2, but only if I like press the Xbox button. Like I didn't like that's how I found the pause was I just press the Xbox button when it brings up like the main menu screen and it'll
Mhm.
pause the game. I
Well,
don't know if that
on
is
PS5
the
at
same.
least, I had to press the middle gamepad button or touchpad button to bring up like this other menu that you normally use anyways. But then at the bottom, there's a button for start to pause, and I don't know. I played this game for so long, and I have never noticed that
That's
pause
just what you
button.
expected. You just
Because
expected
yeah, because I'm not expecting to
middle
look
finger.
for a pause. Yeah, what I was expecting to have someone to flip me off, say, "You want to pause? F you." And
Dude,
so,
I would love
but you
it
can pause.
if that pause, like, it would be kind of a trolly thing, but then to like, there's a pause button, so you press it and it pauses it for like 5 seconds, and then it like starts the game like, so like
Or like
you pause, you get up and go away, and then like you come back, your dude's
one
just dead.
pauses and you're dead. Or like it pauses, but like it has like in Japanese or something because it was a Souls game, like Japanese like wussy or like
Something like
coward
that.
or
Yeah.
something insulting, like just in kanji, just one word, just there at all times. um anyway, so besides Wolong and Neo 2, I'm going back to I also booted up WRC 7, World Rally Championship 7, that and a never ending grind. It has the exact same grind that WRC 6 had, where I have to win 1,000 or complete 1,000 stages, which are just races, and I have to drive um 3,000 kilometers in total. Yeah, in total, and I have to do like 50 online races as well. So that grind is back. Yay!
Congratulations.
Yeah,
You chose
gotta
this
do
life.
it. I just gotta do because I can't skip games and series. It hurts my soul. So doing that, and I looked at number. Well, that's this. This is the only other game that has this grind though, because the other they got. It might still be in the game, but it's not a trophy. So if it's not a trophy, I don't care. Um, but in 8 and 9 and 10 and Generations, they took that out. So no stupid grind, which I don't know why they thought that was okay in the first place. But
Can't be trading
yeah,
your games in, bro.
it's a digital title, man. So, anyways, so that's what I've been playing. Oh, and I bought a new
Cool.
PSP.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, hopefully, because the one I have, it has this. Oh, for those who had a PSP way back in 2005, so PSP is the cool thing about it was that you could pause the game, yes, like normal. But if you wanted, it basically did the thing that PS3s could do, or 360s as well, where like press the home button and you can just go straight to the home, X and B or the Xbox dashboard or whatever. Well, PSPs had basically a similar XMB homepage that PS3s had, and you press this button, and it allows you to quit the game. It takes you back to it. You can also adjust the volume in that on that screen too. But anyways, I'm just playing the games, and I think the disc just loses connection with like whatever the spinning mechanism,
Whatever reader it
spins,
is.
whatever's reading it, because it tastes like that will pop up. Like you want to quit the game, even though the game's still going on. Like it just pops that scream up because I think it loses it momentarily, loses the reading or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm just holding it, and it just does that. Like, I'll just start messing around, moving around because I'm pressing the buttons, and then boop, here comes that screen. I'm like at the worst time. Like, I'm just trying to fight a boss or do a thing. I'm like in the heat of battle, or like I'm playing Rock Band Unplugged, and I'm like going through songs, and it's like boop, and I'm like, no, I was having a streak. And so I bought a new PSP. It's really tough. There's like no new ones unless you want to spend like $1,000.
Yeah, like a lot of money.
Which I was willing to pay like 300 or 400 if that was all that was there. But because I know they're collector's items now. I know they're old. I know they're hard to find. So like I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
But the best I found was like on eBay, this guy new other, because it looks like it's like new out of box, like an out of box thing. I was like, okay, well, I bought an out of box before. That doesn't mean that basically means it's new. It's just not in the original packaging or it's been opened and blah blah blah. So I bought that one. Comes next week. I'm hoping that'll be good. I'm just hoping it's sturdy enough to where I don't have to worry about that button pressing all the time, because that is just one about breaking immersion. There you go. So that's been it for me. What have you been able to play, David?
So since the last time we talked, I'll just go over some few stuff. So I did play Wulong quite a bit.
You keep saying Wulong. You keep saying
Wulong, whatever. Fuck it.
Bro, be appropriate. Like
Wulong.
There you go. Stop being a Southern boy. Say appropriately.
Anyway, so I played that. I have fallen off, so the odds of me getting back on and finishing it are very low.
Like every game you've ever played.
Yeah, pretty much. Once again, Game Pass has been coming in clutch for me. I played a little bit. I didn't play so much of it just because it is more of a time consumer. But I played Civ 5. They released Civ 5, which again
5 or 6. Aren't they on 6?
6.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Civ 6. Which then this we bring up one of my old things about Xbox is like PC games, typical PC games on the Xbox. You can do it. Fucking keep doing it. Like they need to release like the old Command and Conquer RTSs, and it has full keyboard mouse compatibility, even though I haven't used it, but they do have it. The controller compatibility is good for it though. Like it really works. But yeah, just keep on releasing PC games, guys. Like I need to be able to play, Command and Conquer and stuff. That'd be great.
That's up to EA, man. That's up to EA.
It's true. EA probably.
And didn't they re-release 3 a couple years ago?
No idea. I'm not. I
believe
the PC scene,
I think they
idea.
re-released. Well, it might have. Yeah, it might have only been for PC. But I think they re-released some Command and Conquer game or plural as a collection or something. I will have to look into that. But I think they did.
But so yeah, I played that for a little bit. That was fun. Works great. What I did read as I was reading reviews on it, because I was thinking,
6?
Yeah, for 6 for the Xbox One, and because they were also having a sale on it before it came out on Game Pass for it was like $5, and I was like, I mean, I'll get it free in a week, but I could buy it now for $5. And I almost did, but I read the reviews, and it's all it's terrible reviews. The reviews are horrible for it.
Uh-oh.
So I kind of passed on it, and then after the sale was over, but there was this weird 3-day period between the end of the sale and the start of Xbox Game Pass having it, and I looked into more of the Metacritic scores, and I noticed that there were a couple people saying that as long as you have a Series X, it's fucking perfect. It's super fast load times. It never quits on you. The bad reviews is it was loading for 10 minutes and then just crashed as soon as it got in. So again, this is the problem with Xbox requiring games to play on all versions of the Xbox One. Because this in particular, if you play it on anything else other than the Xbox Series X, it's trash. It does not work. It's unplayable.
But Okay, I agree. I'm fine with that. But when you say on Metacritic, they have a separate between Xbox Series and regular Xbox One. So if you
Yeah,
see reviews on the Series X version, why were they even review? Probably for being dumb and didn't think they were on the
yeah. Oh, I mean,
Xbox
I didn't, and
Series.
I didn't check either. So
Because like they have it's separated between the series systems and the regular standard Xbox One. And I would
oh yeah. See, I didn't
imagine
know that. So
if well, what page were you, like you had to be on one of the pages.
I
You couldn't
just,
be on
I just,
both at the same time.
I just did. I think what happened is I probably was on the one for the Xbox One regular,
Hmm.
and I just but then other people got on and was talking about the series, or like I don't know. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Xbox needs to drop the requirement for games to be released on
Hmm.
all systems, on all the family systems. It just, I think it is slowing down the development of higher end games and particular PC titles being put on the Xbox One Series X, because it absolutely can play PC games, but the Xbox One cannot.
You know what's funny? I'm actually looking at Metacritic right now because I was curious. It actually looks like, at least on Metacritic, there is no separate page for the next gen systems. It is only PS4 and Xbox One because it was released in 2019,
Yeah,
apparently. But that's weird. It was released in 2019 before the next gen consoles were out. But you're saying that it actually plays terrible on the old system. So that's kind of weird how
yeah,
that all works out.
apparently it's awful. Like it crashes all the time. It can't run very long. It takes forever to load.
And the
On
PS4 is not much better either.
on the Xbox, on my Series X, every game loads within like it is ready to play right after the introduction of your character. Like if you pick like Franklin D. Roosevelt, like it gives like a little blurb about how you're, whatever, the president of the American people and stuff, and then right after it's done, it's good to go. And I've never had it chug. I've never had it like uh, close out on me or anything. It's perfect.
Hmm.
So anyway,
Well, what I find interesting, what I wonder then is like maybe even though it's not on Metacritic, maybe there is a native, maybe they did re-release native versions for the next gen systems, but they're just not on Metacritic.
I mean,
Or
I think what we've seen in other games is just that it runs 360 games better than the 360 does. So I think what it might be is just that it just wasn't ready to be ran on consoles until the capabilities of the Series X.
it's funny because I looked up, so it came in 2019 for consoles at least, and the PS4 and Xbox One versions have like user reviews in like the 6.5, 6.1, which I'm sure I didn't look into them deeply, but I'm sure a lot of them are probably what you're saying, like this is trash, breaks
Well, and
down.
I'm sure that other reviews from it have come out since the Series X to boost those up a little bit.
And yeah, who knows what it would have been at 2019? I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm pretty sure it was like at probably a
So
4 or 3. But which could now explain why you saw Xbox Series reviews on it, because if there is no separate page, that's where they can go. But anyways, I was going to say the Switch version has a 7.5.
interesting.
I don't know how that's even possible because the Switch is is by far the worst performing console out of all, even the PS4 and Xbox One. So I don't know how in the world the Switch version is better or reviewed better. Maybe those Nintendo loyalists just I don't know, but I just wanted to let you know the Switch version
Yeah.
was good. So you should have got it for the Switch. That's what you should have got it for.
Well, it works on my Xbox Series X
The
fucking
superior
perfectly.
version.
And
You
I can
should
use a keyboard and mouse when I want to, even though I probably never will. Anyway,
whatever, man. It's not the superior version. The Switch.
so anyway, I did that. I've also been playing MLB The Show 23 because of course I am. I have complaints about that, but we won't get too much into that. There are really cool. There's some really cool stuff. Mainly that they put in some international players from the WBC into the game, at least in like the free agents pool, so you can transfer them into the game. But I still have some complaints. Other than that, in some game tweaks that are noticeable, it's pretty much the same game. They changed some stuff with the drafting, but it's still very lackluster for franchise players. There's still a lot of problems with the
Well,
franchise.
you didn't have complaints with MLB last year.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. It's one of the best. Like it in 2K. I think I've had more fun with the recent 2K with its era mode. So I think that would boost it for me. Just the fact that I can go back to like the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, and most of the rosters are there, especially with downloadable rosters that people have made. That for me is great. Everything else about it, like there's a ton of glitches. Like you'll draft like Stephen Curry, and he like is a bust every time because something with the potential system just is not right in that game. But just that ability to go back and relive, my childhood and the history of
Maybe they
basketball
should
that I
do
know.
that with MLB. I'm sure that MLB is even
That's
richer than NBA's.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying. It would be crazy to do because also like drafting is different in the MLB. Like the way prospects work is different. So I don't know how they would do that exactly. Like maybe they have just the top people from that era, from that draft. Like I don't know. It'd be weird, but I think they could do it and it'd be fun. But anyway,
I'm sure Sony could do it because Sony still makes it. So like they could if they wanted to.
But
They could.
I've been playing some of that. Of course, baseball season's kicking off, so that's why I've been heavily into that. But what I've been playing the most of to get me over my depression from school, because I'm deep into final. Not I don't have any finals, but I have final projects, and I'm deep into depression with that. Is
Oh
I
yes.
am for the first time since I think I originally played it. You know my love for Fallout 3. Fallout 3 in New Vegas. I've said it many times that if those ever get remade, I will cry. I don't think I have, and this isn't too much of a surprise, but I think I've only finished the story campaign of 3 one time.
I thought you never did.
No, I have completed it one time and all the DLC.
Oh.
But that is definitely of the two. I've played that one far less because I do think that New Vegas is superior in almost every way. The only thing that I do miss from 3 is like it is much more like a solitary, depressing atmosphere. Where in New Vegas there's a lot more places to go and NPCs to interact with, and it's a lot more vibrant and lively of a world. Whereas in the capital waste is like it's a fucking war zone. Everything like there's like maybe a couple real settlements, and it's nothing major. So I wanted to replay that. So I've been replaying that as a evil character,
Ooh.
which I almost never do,
Yeah.
and it is extremely hard because I mean I blew up Megaton no problem. Didn't even think about it.
You
Oh
already
yeah,
blew it up?
I did it.
Wow.
I did the main quests that you can get from Megaton, which is really just making the Wasteland Survival Guide from
Yeah.
Moria, and like that's all the really big quest in there. And then I blew it up. That was easy for me. I was like,
You
yeah,
can
no,
blow it up that early?
yeah, you can blow it up from the get as long as you
Wow.
have 25 explosive. You can literally go talk to the dude from Tenpenny Tower, and blow
Yeah.
it up from the first time you step into the place.
I didn't because I've only played that game one time. Because PS3, that is only a time. One time's all you need before you never play it again.
You can only
But
have like 4 save files on that thing.
no. It's not that you can only have 4. It's just that no matter how many you have, one of them will get too big and it will crash your system. I got to that mission way late in the game, super late in the game, and I don't know why. But again, I didn't know what was going on. But I just thought
Yeah.
I assumed something like that to that level would be something later in the game.
Yeah,
But
you can literally
okay,
blow it up as long as you have 25 explosive skill. You can walk out of Vault 101 into Megaton, set the bomb, and then go to Tenpenny Tower without doing anything else.
I think it might have also maybe my explosive was just never that high.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to have explosive high other than to do
Because
that and a couple other things.
explosives suck anyway.
Yes,
So
they do. They suck a lot. But anyway,
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I've been trying to run the evil playthrough, and it is so hard to be evil in that game, mainly because they punish you so. Like one, they punish you. So they send if you once you reach a certain evil rating, they send regulators after you, and they're a fucking pain in the ass. And to my knowledge, I don't think you get too many things sent after you if you're good. I think maybe the Talon mercenaries every now and then, but I don't think they send too much. And but regulators, they come after you like I'm running into them like a lot, and they're not pushovers. At least that I'm level 17, and I got evil real fast because again I blew up Megaton like really
Yeah,
early
like
on.
that could have been also too because you blew up Megaton at the beginning of
Yeah,
the game,
exactly,
where you're not leveled enough to handle
exactly. So
handle those guys.
so they make it really hard for you to be evil, and most of the people in the game have good like their missions are good missions, um, and like the evil choices aren't like just like you're kind of a bad guy. It's like you're a fucking disgrace to humanity. So like I'm doing this one where like I found runaway slaves, and they're
Oh, I
like
think I know that one.
and they're
Yeah, I
like,
remember that one.
hey, go to the Lincoln Memorial and see if it's safe for us to go to. And I go there and it's just full of slavers, and it's just like you could kill all the slavers, or you could just go back to the slaves and be like, yeah, it's good, and put them all back into slavery. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I blew up Megaton with children in it, but I don't know if I want to enslave a group of people again.
If anything, you'd be like, what's a bunch of slaves to me? I blew up a whole settlement,
I
the only
guess,
real
I guess.
settlement in the
So
game.
like to me, like I don't know. It's just it's a way bigger choice for me. And like the slavers are dicks. Like they're like you can't go up this
Surprise, surprise.
yeah. Like you can't go up the stairs and look at the Lincoln statue. And I'm like, I really want to, so I might just role play and be like, I killed him because they wouldn't let me step on the stairs, and then I get the XP and the caps from um, giving Lincoln Memorial to the slaves, and then I'll kill the slaves. I'm fine with killing the slaves. Like I don't know what it is. I am 100% okay with just wiping the slaves out. But
Well,
like
you should. You wiped
putting
out a
them
whole.
back into slavery is like I don't know, like a step too far. But anyway, so that's what I've been playing. I'm replaying 3. I just bought from Macari the Game of the Year edition to get the DLC because for some reason, even though I had it downloaded on my profile on the 360, it didn't transfer to my Xbox One. Don't know why, but I bought that for like $15. So
And is the
not the DLC
one on
soon.
Game Pass? Is the one on Game Pass not
No, it's just
Game of the Year edition?
just the base.
That's a shame.
It's lame. Yeah.
Well, running the gamut of games. Sorry this took so long, guys, but we have a month or so to
Yeah,
catch
we
up
did.
on
Yeah.
here. So
we'll try
we
to
don't
keep the
talk
next.
that much. We don't talk that much outside of podcasting because he's so depressed with school. so we're gonna get to our big discussion here. We're gonna talk about so recently, some of you guys know, Nintendo shut down its 3DS and Wii U online stores. They are no more. You can't buy a dang thing on them. You can't even access them anymore. And your boy almost thought he was gonna have a heart attack because I was like, oh crap, because I knew the day was coming. So the day before, it was closing on a Monday, the 27th, I believe, of March. So the day before, I was like, okay, I never bought Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal that they re-released on the virtual console, and I really wanted them, especially Crystal, because this version of Crystal, they put into it the Celebi event,
Yeah.
which I was like, oh sweet, that's awesome. So I was like, oh man, I gotta get them. And I thought normally I would be like, okay, just go to the, because I don't use my 3DS that much at all, so I haven't even looked up, I haven't messed with my account on it forever. But I thought I could be like, okay, yeah, just go to my account, go to profile, add funds, or just my card would be on there, or if it wasn't, I add it on there, and then bam, bada boom, bada bing, we're done, good to go. That is not how that works. Apparently, they shut down card support and all that shit on the store a long time ago, and I didn't know.
Yeah, they
So
go get a Nintendo card.
But then I was like, okay, I'll go to Winco, buy a couple of Nintendo cards, no big deal, right? I'll add the funds that way. they cut out that support on the store a long time ago too. So I was like, what do I do? And so what you had to do was you had to go to the separate Nintendo website,
Add
which I think is
funds.
like it. So I had to make an account through that because I didn't have one. I had to make an account through that, and then you have to link your ID on the 3DS or your Wii U, whatever, your online ID, to the site's profile so that it's linked. And then from there, you have to share wallets. So you have to enable that. And then on the site, you can add codes or your debit card or whatever, your card to put funds or to use as a thing. But I needed to just add funds because the 3DS doesn't take cards anymore. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna add the funds. So I added the funds, and then you can go to your 3DS store, and then the funds will be there ready to use. So that's what I had to do. I had to do a lot of research to figure that out though. So I'm like freaking out thinking this was going to be like an all day thing. Like I was going to waste
Sounds
my
like it.
whole day because I need to have Pokemon Green, Gold, Silver, and Crystal in my life. Um, Granted, it didn't. It only took like an hour or an hour and a half, and so I was like, "Yay!" And so I bought them, downloaded them. They're in my system. Everything's fine. But the point is, they're gone. They're gone, and it's now re-sparked conversation on online or game preservation in general,
Yeah.
because with physical copies always becoming more and more scarce with every single year passing by, especially for the older stuff. We kind of thought at first we could rely on the online stores because it's online stores. It's just online. It's always there. Yes, it's not physical, but at least there is a way to get the games in some other form. And yes, they wouldn't live physically with a manual and a box, but at least they could live physically within a system.
Yeah.
Like at least they could live that way, which not ideal, especially for preservationists or purists or old school guys like myself. um not ideal, but it is better than being lost forever. And so we thought we could rely on those online marketplaces to do that for us. But now with both of those being closed down, and then with us having that scare on Sony side a year or two ago with the PS3 / Vita store being shut down too, which they reversed. Thank goodness, but for how long?
No.
But it was reversed, and it still is reversed for the time. They haven't announced plans to shut it down since. Um, but it now just sparks all that up again, and I just thought we could talk about that and just see, get our thoughts on it, because we haven't really talked in depth about that before. We kind of brought it up here and there throughout various podcasts, but we never dedicated time to it. And for me, it's a bit scary, because there's so many games, and it doesn't matter to you until you get old enough for it to matter, right? Because today's, like, if you're like a teenager or a young 20-year-old, it may not care to you depending on how much you gamed growing up until that point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But for us older guys, and guys and girls who are in their late 20s, 30s, or even mid 20s, depending on how long you gamed, when you started gaming, this matters. This matters a lot, because we already can't get a lot of games as it is, because maybe the code's gone, or all the copies are just somehow obscure. No one knows where they are, or the online marketplaces were already shut down before this was really a hot topic of discussion. Like, for instance, the PSP store is gone, I believe. I don't think there's a way to get a lot of those PSP exclusive games any other way besides physically. Now, some of them, not a lot of them are that hard to get. Like, I have a decent collection of PSP games myself that didn't cost too much to buy. A lot of local stores will still hold on to some. You can find some online on eBay or whatever, but it does still bring up this conversation of, like, eh, will there be, like, are we never ever going to find a way to just find some way to archive old games? Maybe not make it to where you can buy them per se, but just, I don't know, somehow hold on to them in some fashion. And so, what do you think, David? Especially from giving you're such a digital forward guy. I'm just wondering how you feel about it, given that we can't rely on that anymore, it seems, to hold our games.
Yeah, I think so. Like, first off, what I want to say is that it is completely, um, it is completely doable to have these games be available on current systems. Like, like you have people who have made um, ROMs and digital systems for illegal download on your PC. We were just talking about how the Xbox pretty much is a PC. The PlayStation 5, although less powerful, is also pretty much a PC. DS games do not have that much problem. Like, they can definitely run, and they're running 360 games, 64 games, and some DS games on the Switch right now. Like, they have the capability to do this. They are just choosing not to. They're choosing to cut off the supply of these games, and I would say for greedy reasons, basically to make us focus on the new games, to make us focus on the remakes of games. So consumer practice wise, it's terrible for the consumer. It is definitely anti-consumer. It's strictly pro-business. I think on that case with Nintendo, I have some hope that they will open up at least the majority of those games on the Switch. They've been doing more and more older games available to play either through the Nintendo like Game Pass Nintendo thing. Basically, the online thing also comes with the Nintendo Game Pass thing, where there's a lot of older games that you can play if you have the online pass. I think would be the smart thing for them to do. Would be, hey, all these DS games that you can't buy anymore, a lot of them, like the Pokemon games, you can play if you have our Nintendo Online Pass. I think that would sell. Like, if you have a Nintendo Switch, you need online Game Pass, and I would pay the, like, if they said, hey, look, we're gonna have every Pokemon game that we've released from Red to 3DS cutoff, XY, or whatever the 3DS cutoff was. We're going to have all of that on the Nintendo Online thing, and now it's going to be like the $180 or whatever you have to pay for the Xbox Game Pass with Live. I would pay that for just the Pokemon games, the ability to play all of the old Pokemon games on my Switch. I 100% would pay that. And obviously they're going to have other things like, Mario Kart and the other Mario games, or whatever other DS games people like. I only ever played Pokemon on the DS, so I don't know what other fucking games are on the DS. But literally just for the Pokemon games, I would play, I would do that. And the thing is, I have fucking an emulator on my phone to play Pokemon Heart Gold for free. I would still pay that money to play it on an actual Switch. Call me stupid or whatever. There's something about playing Pokemon on what it was designed to be played on. So
well, you only
do
that. You only do that because you just know the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like only other option at this point is spending $100 on the Heart Gold version, because that's what the price is now. I mean, I'm exaggerating a tiny bit, but the inflation is so high. It's like you're kind of your hands forced to go to these ROMs instead.
It's the same argument I have with how hard it is to watch NFL games. For NFL, like, it is impossible. Like, some games are on ESPN only, some games are only on Fox, and like, you can buy the NFL Game Pass, but even if you buy the NFL Game Pass, you have to wait until after the game is played on Fox, because Fox has the exclusive first rights to the game, for you to watch it on the Game Pass that you're paying fucking $100 and something for the year, for the season. And I only want to watch the Seahawks games. Like, if they just made it to where if I could just pay $100 for a season of watching the Seahawks and I could watch it live, I would pay $100. But guess what I'm going to do instead? I'm fucking searching Google for illegal streams, and I don't fucking feel bad about it at all because I'm willing to spend money, but they make it so hard to spend money that I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care. So like,
Yeah.
if they made this available to the consumer, the product we want, this is capitalism, right? There is a demand, and they literally are cutting off our supply to it. And now it gets a little bit worse. I would rather have them just cut off the supply entirely than to do what like EA and Blizzard have done in recent years, which is make a remake, charge you $60, $70 for that remake be fucking awful, and then they cut off the original. Even if you had purchased the original, they did this for Warhammer, where if you had it on your Steam
Warhammer
account,
or Warcraft?
Warcraft, my bad. Yeah, if you had Warcraft on your Steam or whatever you had it on, they forcibly updated it to the remake and then cut off the supply of the old one.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you had known ahead of time to cut off your online somehow, then you were forcibly upgraded to the new one that sucks, and
Yeah, I heard.
cut off all that. Like it's the anti-consumer stuff is.
Well, funny. Well,
great.
that's particularly a PC thing because that could never happen with a console thing. Because
Yeah.
you can't. What are they going to do? Find all the stray copies of an old game? Like for instance,
Too human?
13. When
Too
13
human?
got. Well, no. Well, they didn't find it. They just said you couldn't. The publisher couldn't release it anymore. But the ones that were already out,
they had to rebuy them from like game stores too.
yeah. But the ones that were already sold, where they
Yes.
can't go find people.
No.
So like that's why you can still buy it online.
Yeah.
But anyways, like for instance, the 13 remake from a few years ago that did not do well from what people said. It was buggy, broken, and didn't have the same charm as the original one. Well, they can't just go and find all the original 13s on PS2 or GameCube and just try to destroy them.
But they can.
They're always there.
Yeah, but they can cut off, and they did cut off the original one.
They
on digital platforms.
Okay, true, and I think Take-Two did the same thing with GTA. I don't know if they re-brought them back, but I know they did that again.
Yeah.
But again, though, for this particular instance, since there was a huge pool of physical ones that were released in the wild years ago, there's nothing they can ever do about that.
And that creates a black market for the original thing. So like I just looked
that's a side thing. Yes, that creates then like a.
I looked up the price on Macari for Heart Gold, and it's like, oh, do you want it without a case? Yeah, $130. You want it with a case? $250.
Well, that's always been those two particular games have always had the crazy inflated
but
price.
If they have the capability to release it digitally. If they release it digitally, I would pay $60 for that game, which is twice as much as what it was when it came out. And I wouldn't think a second of it. I'd just be like, yep, credit card, here you go. Here's my $60 for a 20-year-old game.
And I know that, I mean, like when you do like cut, I know there's a whole separate conversation to have about like the inflation now goes insane. Because when the PS3 was looking like it was going to be shut down, there were a select few games where their prices just shot right up because they realized, oh crap, the only way now we can get this is physically. I mean, yes, the physical copies are always going to be there, but now the ones that are being willing to be sold, they know that like, oh, we can ask for like twice the price. And I actually had one of the games that were part of that inflation, the Ratchet and Clank collection on PS3. I didn't even know, but that was, and also Into the Nexus, which was the epilogue to the Future trilogy, which was technically the last one on the PS3. Both those games, their prices went up to close to $100.
Yeah,
and particularly Into the Nexus, that one was $30 when it initially came out. So it over $100 inflation. Or 100% inflation on that title, almost 200% inflation.
And to be clear, this problem of a black market or like inflation of price has been a thing even before the digital storefront. So a good example is when I was first working at GameStop, when I was a lowly young GA. I was alphabetizing the 360 section, and I come across Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh yeah! Oh gosh!
And I looked at it and I brought it to the front. I was like, "This is wrong, right?" It was in I was like 2009 or something. It was $140 at GameStop, which is,
Yeah.
people dogging us for our used prices all the time, or sorry, I'm now no longer associated with them. Their used prices all the time for being way too high. But when it comes to games like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, if we ever get one in, that's $80. That's a fucking steal. Like, and so I looked online after I saw that. Online, it was selling for $250 to $300 for a disc. We had a dude for that, like literally that day. We got a dude call from, I think it was from like Idaho. Yeah, it was Idaho, and he was like, "Can you hold it? I will drive through the night to get it." And he did. That was at closing time that day. He showed up at our door front that next day from fucking Idaho. So like it's been a problem. And then when they finally did release it on the Xbox storefront, it it went from $140 to we were selling it by like the week after it released on the storefront for I think it was like $30. It was under what they were selling it for on the storefront. So like it's been a problem, but the thing is that like what I'm mad about is that they have the technology. We have the technology.
We have the
We
technology.
can fix him. We have the technology. It would be a financial like windfall for me. I think the only thing that holds it back is that they would actually have to make good new Pokemon games because
You would remember what the good ones are like, and you're like,
yeah,
man, this Scarlet and Violet is garbage.
yeah, exactly. If some fucking 10-year-old found Heart Gold and they're like, "Oh my god, this is great," and they would never touch a new one ever again. So like, I feel like that's probably some of the reason is because they just for the life of them can't make a good Pokemon game anymore, and they don't want
They
to.
backed themselves into a
Yeah, they
corner.
don't want to release good Pokemon games anymore. Because I think I remember a stat of after they released those digital storefronts, the Pokemon game that came out after they did that was like one of the least selling new Pokemon games in years. And
If I remember correctly, I don't think Diamond and Pearl got off to a strong start.
no,
But then again, the DS didn't get off to a strong
true.
start either, I believe. I think. I could be mistaken that with the 3DS, because that one didn't get off to a good start either, initially. But but I do know Diamond and Pearl, I don't think that was like as hot of a Pokemon release as the 3 generations
Yeah.
beforehand. If I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
It
that was
also
what happened.
hurt. Well, what hurt Diamond and Pearl, and of course now we're turning into a Pokemon podcast, is that it was one of the first generations that it was an exclusive generation. It had no
Oh, yeah, there was no
Pokemon. Well,
compatibility.
there was no
Oh wait,
Pokemon at all from previous generations until the end game.
no, you're thinking of Gen 5. That was Gen
Am I?
5. Yeah, it's Gen 5.
Okay.
I played Gen 4 recently. Gen 5 is
Oh,
the one you're
okay. Well,
thinking
whatever.
about.
That was a problem too. But anyways, yeah. So I think my biggest thing with all of this is that they have the technology to do it, and they just choose to not, and it
What I
forces us to become pirates, and I'm
when
totally
you
okay
when
with it.
you when you speak of capitalism, part of that conversation is the cost side of things, and I think that's where you might see the biggest dissenters complaining. Trying to argue that point is because I've been told, now I don't know what the costs are, but I've been told, Sony, Microsoft's Xbox, Steam, whatever have you. Apparently, from what I've understood, it costs money to hold those games in some kind of a storefront. I don't know if it's a server cost or if it's some kind of other online electronic back end cost. I guess it costs money for Sony to host those games on their store. Now, how much? I have no idea. But that's what I've been told, and so I imagine maybe that's what it is, and that's why we don't see those games get added on, because they don't want to have this extra cost of
And I
all these legacy games when they don't feel confident enough that they'll get enough of a return
and
on
I'm
it.
sure there is some cost to it, but when you have people doing it for free online, that they get no money from making these emulators. They get no money, or little money because they might get some ads from making these ROMs. and they're able to do it. And I know that storefronts have different like rules. Hosting agencies have different rules and stuff like that. But when you look at a game like Pokemon, I think every single
your cat is going off.
It really wants me to pet it. It really bad. This is the talking one.
And he's talking.
He really is.
Or
he's not okay that I'm ignoring him. We haven't done this in a long time, so he's used to being petted after he gets to eat. But anyway, I can't see Pokemon being one of those games that they wouldn't make money on. Again, I think
I was thinking generally, not Pokemon. I was thinking.
And here's the thing: I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where we get all games ever digitally backed up by companies.
Yeah, no.
But I do think what we need to do, and what like there has to be some laws for or something, is to make emulators like if you do not have this game like on a storefront, then it can legally be emulated and kept in for historical sake or just for consumer sake. Like you give up the right, but the thing, our copyright laws are so fucking ridiculous that like stuff that should have been in the public domain years ago, like Mickey Mouse and stuff, are never going to be in the public domain. Mickey Mouse will never be in the public domain. It'll always be controlled by some corporation for eternity. And I think even if they never renewed the copyright for Mickey Mouse, I think it's public. I think it's copyright is like 120 years or something like that. If they never renewed it, and just like that's just what we have to deal with. So I
was gonna say the other big problem is copyright issues. That's always a finicky thing, especially with Nintendo being extra picky with theirs. But I can imagine even Sony's side, with their plethora of first party IPs or the really closely held third party or second party IPs. That's another big thing to worry about, which can be a legal headache that they probably don't want to deal with. And even something as simple as like, we'll just have like a bunch of passionate people come together, like make a business, and all they do is they just handle the archiving themselves. Sony, Microsoft, they don't even touch it. Let them do it. You still have an IP thing to worry about, right? Because you got to make sure they don't mess around and do anything ridiculous, and to give a lot of trust of your most closely guarded, like even though Sony hasn't done shit with Jak and Daxter, and I don't even know how long. For them to just willingly give these weirdo strangers that they don't know
access to their
access to this just for archiving purposes is very. I wouldn't expect them to do that, but it sucks that they don't do that themselves then, or find some way to do this, because there's so many
on
games
the real. From like if we're taking, because part of this podcast is mainly me. Taking it from like a business standpoint and thinking about it from a business standpoint.
Wait, excuse you. I'm the one with the business.
Yeah, but you get emotional about shit all the time. You know it is.
I'm the one that brought up the business part of this whole conversation, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, I would say that it doesn't make financial sense to even worry about anything that does not make them, that is not their big shit, like their really big IPs. On a business standpoint, and maybe again because I don't have a business degree and I'm not involved in the industry directly, it doesn't make sense. It's almost like they're like just for fun fucking us over for big IPs like Pokemon, even Jak and Daxter. I think if they release Jak and Daxter just on the PlayStation 5 with like they don't remake it, they just release it, and maybe the stuff that the PlayStation 5 can do with older games like frame rate and stuff help. I think that people would buy it for $30 or more.
A Jak and Daxter remake. Oh my gosh. A Jak and Daxter remake.
But even if it was just
Naughty Dog, Blue Point Games,
get on it. It was just easy to play again. Like and you don't have to break out your.
They did on PS4.
On PlayStation 4, yeah. On PS4. Yeah. But I mean, PlayStation 4 is fucking old too, man. You're getting old. PlayStation 4 is getting outdated and old too.
There was the PS3 a grandpa then? Like,
dude, think about it. We were in fucking like high school when the 360 came out.
Okay, well, 360, yes, but PS4 did come out too. I was in college.
Yeah, no, but you said the PlayStation 3, so like, yeah.
Oh, I guess it is a grandpa, but you don't think about it because it still looks pretty good. A lot of games look pretty good still. Okay, I was gonna say, you want to speak of business? You mentioned earlier supply and demand, right? Well, I was make a facetious joke about like why wouldn't Pokemon Nintendo re-release the old Nintendo games on the digital storefront? Like, well, why do that? Well, we can just have you so thirsty for the old stuff, we just remake it and put it, charge you again for $60 for the remakes instead of charging you 15 or $20 for re-releases.
I agree, but I think they could double dip. I think if they put gold, heart gold, because I prefer that to the original. If they put heart gold on the marketplace for, I would say I would pay $60 for it, but the industry would fucking have a fit.
No more than 20.
No, I mean 20. I would say 30 to 40. I think the industry wouldn't react too heavily to that. I do think.
All right.
I would buy that personally. I mean, of course, I would pay 60 for it, but I think the industry in general would pay 20 for sure, anywhere up to $40 for that. And then they came out with a $60 remake for it that was like in the model of these newer Pokemon games, so 3D environments and everything like that, but the story and everything was heart gold. I would pay $70 for that game, even if I had the original one. And I think, and I know I'm just one man, but I think the majority of Pokemon fans would also do the same. Because we do get excited about 3D environments, and the idea of Pokemon being in a 3D world is so cool, and they fucked it up 3 different times. And the funny thing is their first attempt was the best one. Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee is the best 3D Pokemon game, hands fucking down.
What?
Hands fucking down.
Better than Arceus? Better than Arceus.
Oh, content-wise, I would say yes.
Arceus is the best. People say Arceus is the best.
Yeah, it's lacking. I think the reason people say that is because we saw that as like the first stage, and then they fell on their face.
It can still be the best one. It can still be the best one, even if it is the.
Me personally, I would take Let's Go Pikachu over it.
I mean, I would have maybe agreed Let's Go Pikachu, even if you could actually battle like
That's
normal.
True. That is very true. That is very true.
Then I would have agreed with you. But given that stupid battling system for Pokemon Go,
wild Pokemon. You can still do trainer battles the same.
Still stupid.
I agree. But yeah.
But yeah. So it does suck, and I want to say, like, I was trying to think of, like, man, why not just have like a studio, like how there's like we're starting to see like dedicated studios just for remakes and shit, like Blue Point Games. Yeah. I know there's other ones like Purple Lamp Studios. I think is a lot that does a lot of remasters, but it's like it'd be cool to have studios like we're just focused on just like archiving, like a proprietary studio from the big publishers that's all they do. You guys, we pay you to archive things for us, but you're in-house, so we know we can trust you, and they just do that. It'd be great. And maybe one day, who knows, maybe it could happen. But like you said, it's capitalism at its finest.
I do think our great hope is these subscription systems that are coming out, like Game Pass, like Nintendo.
Yes.
They need constant games to keep people in. That's why, like, you see on Netflix and stuff, Netflix has movies and shit from way back because they need constant material. And I think that I mean, now HBO got into a lot of trouble because they fucking deleted a bunch of shit from their old library. So maybe I'm talking out of my ass and they're finding other reasons. But I think that is our only hope, is that Nintendo sees that they are lagging behind in subscriptions compared to especially Game Pass and even to PlayStation Now, or whatever they fucking call it now.
It's just PlayStation Plus.
Cool. And they're like, hey, we have this thing, these old games, that if we put them on this pass, their sales would shoot up, I think, personally, even if they increase to cover the costs, if they increase the yearly price to like, $80, $100.
We'll have to. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I also because like Xboxes, I know there's a lot of 360 games that are included in the Game Pass, but they stopped adding them, right? And then you look at Sony's, and they're slowly adding ones, but you have to be at the highest tier to access those classic games. Well, you can access some PS3 games, I believe, on the middle one, but you can't access the PS1, 2, and PSP stuff unless you have the premium. And we don't know sales numbers on the premium. They haven't divulged any subscription numbers, and like, or if they have, I haven't seen them, or for like how many are in each of the tiers. And so it's kind of hard to say. Well, I guess not really as much with Nintendo because their IPs are so strong and so beloved that maybe they don't even need that
Yeah,
information
I would say
to figure things
being
out.
a Game Pass owner, all of the musts for older IPs they have. They have the Halos, they have the Gears, they have even Psychonauts, the original Psychonauts,
Oh,
which is an
okay.
obscure one. They have this. I know on the original Xbox, this one was popular. I never got the like I can't even remember. It's like they're in like balls, like and they battle each other, and I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was. They have. I think they have Dragoon on there as well. So like
Ninja Gaiden Black is on
they have
there,
Ninja
I
Gaiden
think.
Black. They have the musts, and I'm sure PlayStation has a lot of their musts. Nintendo's
No, they don't.
musts. Oh, they
No,
don't.
they don't.
Oh,
No, they
Nintendo's musts are like endless. Like they all of their classic games. I think like I don't know. It's endless. Like all of the Zelda games, all of the Mario games, and all of its iterations, all of the Pokemon games. Like even if it was a separate subscription fee to Nintendo, like if they were like you have to not only do you have to have Nintendo Online, but this is a separate subscription that you also have to have. Again, I'd do it.
if it was literally for Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, like all basically buffet
Yeah,
style of those three
just
IPs,
the big three.
everything's there. It'd be like,
Yeah,
yes, like I don't.
yeah.
What was that a question? Because I don't know
Like
where the question was.
you want you want $120 a year to access? Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, again, where was the question? I already gave you the
Yeah,
money.
I've already handed you my wallet. Take more
Yeah,
money if you need
yeah,
to.
please. I don't know what you want from me. I
Like
already gave
I'm
you everything
already
I can.
playing Pokemon Heart Gold, and I'm about to play original Mario Party with my friends on the
And you're
Switch.
telling me
Fuck yeah!
You're telling me I can play Pokemon Soul Silver on a 50-inch TV? Are you out of your mind? Yes, of course I want that. Are you crazy? Like the coolest thing about Pokemon Stadium. This is way back. Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2, forget which one it was, but you could hook up. You had to have a special thingy in your with either the N64 or the controller, but you could pop in your Pokemon game into it and play it like you would normally on a Game Boy, but on your TV. And that was the dopest shit I'd ever done in my life.
They had it for
Like,
the GameCube as well.
oh,
They had it for the GameCube as well, and
it was the coolest thing ever. I was like
those
7. I was like, you can do this? Like, I
dude, I
was like
bet those
losing my
things are
mind.
going for bank too. The
I don't
Game
even know
Boy
what that
Advance
was. I don't even know
adapter.
how
Hold on.
I don't even know how I got that. Like how I even came across that feature or that thing. I don't know if it was a peripheral or what, but I don't know how I had one or how I was able to do it. But yeah, I play Pokemon Yellow, my Pokemon Yellow on a TV on a good old CRT, and it was the best thing on my life. Few things to top that. I'm gonna tell you right now. So playing Pokemon, an old OG Pokemon on an actual TV that's not through an emulator or not from like not through an emulator more or less
They're not
is
that
like
bad.
that's the most novel thing I would buy a Switch for that. I don't even own a Switch. I will buy a Switch. I buy the top Switch. I buy a special edition Switch, which who knows how much that's going for. I buy a special edition Switch, get that online pass immediately, get that premium version of it immediately, just so I could pop in Pokemon Yellow one more time and play it on my 50 TV, my 55-inch TV, and just live life like a king.
For sure. For sure.
Oh, well, all
But
right. Well, that's it for this one, guys. So we're sad. We're basically
yeah,
sad that it's gone, and there's
once
really no
again,
answer.
capitalism makes me sad.
Wins again. There's just no answer to online preservation of games. We don't know what will happen. Maybe Nintendo secretly has all these IPs or has like the the scripts or the code, whatever you call
We
it.
can hope that Nintendo has a plan to release.
Maybe they have them and they're going to do something with them. Who knows? But it's sad times for those who care. A lot of people aren't going to care, and I understand why you wouldn't. But for a lot of us, gaming has been around for a long time. We've been a part of it for a long time, and it means a lot to us. It's as near and dear to our hearts as anything else in our lives. So to see it possibly gone forever, it's like, man, it's like now I understand how historians and archaeologists feel when things are lost to the sands of time.
Yeah.
It's how, I guess that's how they feel all the time because we're destroying everything all the time. So I guess that's how they feel, and I don't like it. So I'm not gonna destroy a single thing ever again. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us. Next time we'll be back to a regular cadence, hopefully, as long as David can survive going through school. But yeah, we'll see you on the next week. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe as always, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.